The Flash, issue 761, heads to Mercury in the 853rd century, where John Fox, the Flash of that era, takes his new Kid Flash to the Flash Museum, wanting to show him why they put the costumes on. Racing around the museum, the excited Kid Flash is shown the day that changed Flash forever. In the present-day Central City, the Flash family battle it out with the Legion of Zoom, but Flash knows that Thorn underestimated the Flash family, as he tells Kid Flash to get Iris out of the battle. Thorn taunts Barry, telling him that he's so noble since he rescues women and children first, but it leaves his family outnumbered. Max Mercury knows that they are fast enough to handle the villains, as Flash knows Eobard never brought any speedsters onto his team, wondering what he's afraid of. Bloodwork attacks Barry, telling the man to shut up and to stop showing off his intellect, saying that Reverse Flash promised them his head. Iris meanwhile wants Wallace to stop running her away from the city, since her and Wallace notice the battle is going to destroy the whole city, so they need to evacuate it quickly. Jesse Quick tells the family the villains will soon overwhelm them, as Jay whips his helmet at the villains, knowing that he's been outnumbered in fights before like this, but never on this level of power before. Max is given an idea, needing to meditate on it, which Bart finds strange considering they are in the middle of a bloody battle. The young hero keeps the villains off Max as he reaches into the Speed Force, feeling their connections through the space and time. Impulse tells him to hurry up as Max finally reaches what he's looking for, pulling speedsters and Flash family members from all over the multiverse to them. The returning Iris and Wallace know with backup they can indeed evacuate the city. Avery leads the charge as Fweza tells Barry that her and Steadfast felt an energy pull them to the city, which Barry knows means that they are now part of the family. Flash continues to fight Reverse Flash, who says that both of them need to witness this moment together, asking Barry if he's ever seen anything like this, with all of these villains and heroes there because of Reverse Flash. He tells Barry that when Iris killed him, he remembers Barry saying that there would never be a Reverse Flash museum, but Thorn knows that it was always about him, not Barry. Barry knows that this isn't the villain's final plan, but a distraction to stop him from solving a murder, and he wants to know why. Reverse Flash says that he's seen the future and he's dedicated his life to the Flash Museum of the 25th century, and at the time he worshipped Barry and every part of his life, but that was long before Barry rejected him. Thorn reveals that when he found out that he would die over and over again and Barry would be part of it, he decided to hurt the hero, but it took work and an insane amount of planning, which begun with keeping his family busy by changing Hunter Zolomon's fate so he became Zoom, and then killing August Hart's brother, framing Black Hole for it so he would eventually go on to become Godspeed to get revenge. After that, he would return to the museum to see his changes, telling Flash that killing his mother wasn't the end and that he never stopped making Barry Allen's life a living hell. He reveals to Barry that thanks to the negative speed force that Barry never bothered to learn about, he has been able to speak at a hypnotic frequency, whispering into the ears of the Flash family and to push and pull people to do things that they'd never do, creating doubt in their heads so that Barry would never tell anyone about his and Batman's Button investigation. Wallace wouldn't say anything about how Robin begun treating criminals and how Wally West murdered his friends and covered it up. Barry is enraged to learn it was all Thorn's doing, but the villain smashes him in the chest, saying that he planned for this moment and he knows every move the hero can make and knows today is the day the Flash loses. Suddenly a shaft of blue lightning smashes into the men, separating them as Wally West's voice is heard by Barry, telling him to find him. Thorn knows this isn't right and not what he saw in the future, speeding off since he needs to know what has changed. Barry chases him into the time stream as Bart, Iray, and the other heroes evac the city, wondering how they can send the villains back to their own timelines. Jesse Quick says that they know none of the villains are there on the correct vibrational frequency, and Bart knows the Tornado Twins went back to their own time when that frequency was reset, and they reverted to how they were within those timelines without Thorn's influence. Jay thinks that that's why Thorn never brought any speedsters, since they wouldn't have worked on them. The kid speedsters soon work out that creating the correct shockwave frequency should send the villains home and reset them back to their normal selves. The kids race off to enact their shockwave plan, but Iris stops Bart, knowing that since he's not from this timeline, this plan might mean it might send him back to the 30th century. Bart knows it's a risk, and it's a risk he's willing to take, and Iris knows that, telling him that he's he's a brave boy, telling him to run. The kid speedsters race towards the villains, beginning to vibrate around them. The villains begin to feel the effects of the shockwave as a huge explosion of energy overcomes them, clearing the area of the villains and sending them all home along with the flashes from the multiverse. The heroes celebrate their victory and Max tells Jay that he's got to trust the next generation, since they have it covered. Iris hugs Bart, happy that he is still there, as the boy wonders where Barry is. Back in the 853rd century, Kid Flash learns that that day wasn't important because of the big fight, since that day was a tragic one, and while the Flash family won the fight, the war was far from over. Since while the Flashes did send the villains back to their respective timelines, Reverse Flash, who wasn't in the present, was in the time stream when the changes started, as was the Flash, and because of it, this was the last time Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne ever raced. The Flash 761 is a fantastic, fast-paced and action-packed penultimate issue to Joshua Williamson's Finish Line story, as well as his entire 101 issue run on the character. I absolutely love that we are at a point where even DC is kind of leaning heavy into the whole "it was me, Barry, Reverse Flash" meme. I thought it was great that they used it as an opportunity to retcon some of the more stupid stuff the universe has done in the last few years, like Heroes in Crisis, and how Robin is running a gulag full of villains, and characters like Kid Flash were fine with that happening. Normally I would hate when everything gets retconned because it's the ultimate plan of a villain, you know, they did the whole prep time, Bat God sort of thing, but thanks to how Flash's time travel and Speed Force shenanigans work, the idea just lands because it fits in with everything that's been happening in the book, and it landed really well, so I'm intrigued to see how Joshua wraps up his entire run, since as the ending here teased, this seems to be the final confrontation of the Flash and Reverse Flash. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.